Welcome to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. My name is Trich Gray, and I'll be your host for this edition of Toastmaster Time. Just like in a regular Toastmasters meeting, we're going to have speakers. We're then going to evaluate them to give them feedback to help them improve. For that, we've got our very own evaluator, Dave Orris. Dave, can you give us an idea of what we have in store today?
Trish, we've got a wonderful show in store today. Not only will we be inspired and entertained and informed, we've got two Toastmasters with us, Faz Binesh and Happy Skywalker, who will demonstrate how they've taken their Toastmaster skills to a higher level and made some positive changes in their communities.
Oh, that sounds very interesting, Dave. I can't wait to hear these speeches. But let me start by introducing our first guest, Faz Binesh. Faz, welcome to the show.
Hello, Trish. Thank you very much.
And what club are you representing?
I'm representing Castro Valley Toastmasters Club.
How long have you been a Toastmaster?
About 10 years.
10 years, okay. Now, Dave was saying that you've been taking the skills you've learned in Toastmasters out to the community. What are you doing?
We have started a youth leadership organization where we help the kids improve their communication and leadership skills.
Now that sounds very interesting. It's like you're taking the skills you've learned and you're passing them down to the next generation.
Exactly, because I feel that the next generation can better utilize these skills in the future.
You know, I wish that when I was, in high school, that age, that I'd had someone like you in my life to, give me that initial push and confidence, because I think you gain confidence as you improve your speaking skills.
Exactly. We have witnessed a lot of cases where the youth has benefit from this tremendously.
Do you notice a big change? They come in with one skill set, and then when they leave, totally different?
Yes. In fact, in an 8-week session, we have noticed the transformation in the youth, 10, 11-year-old kids.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's great. I'm looking forward to hearing your speech. I'm going to give you just a couple minutes to get set up and get organized. But in the meantime, I'd like to talk to our audience about what we mean by a manual speech. We start with the competent communicator working on fundamentals. We then have a whole series of advanced manuals. But each speech you give is a project. It has a set of objectives that, to meet. When you meet those objectives, then you're improving your skills in that particular direction. For that, we have our own evaluator, Dave Orris, who's going to tell us what Faz's objectives are.
Well, Trish, today Faz is speaking out of the Competent Communication Manual. We call this the Basic Manual, and he'll be doing speech number 6, which is about vocal variety. So I'll be paying attention to rate, pitch, things like that, and even the pause. Pauses have a definite purpose in giving a speech and making a statement.
Great. Okay. Well, after we hear Faz's speech, we'll come back to you to get your feedback. But for now, let's hear Faz's speech. Let me introduce Faz Binesh. One more try. One more try, Faz Binesh.
In the sea of life, have you ever seen yourself swimming against the tides and felt that you were so close to the destination and yet so far? It's tough enough to go on, but it's too scary to give up. Ladies and gentlemen, on July 4th, 1952, Florence Chadwick began her journey from Catalina Island to California shore, a 20-mile distance, swimming. Florence knew the dangers of crashing waves and changing tides in open water because the year before she made history by being the first woman to swim across the English Channel, a 21-mile waterway between England and France, not in one, in both directions. This day was different from others in sunny Southern California. Dense fog set in the 15th hour of the journey and impaired Florence's ability to see the destination, only half a mile away. Definitely, that was a point of no return. Think about it, half a mile going forward or 19.5 miles going back. Florence continued swimming aimlessly and hopelessly. Where is the GPS when you need one? The journey turned chaotic. The occasional gunshots kept away the hungry sharks aiming for Florence. Her coach kept saying, "Florence, come on, go, don't give up, this is not the end." Florence tried very hard. She gave up. What a heartbreak. Being so close and yet so far. Florence wouldn't quit if she could see the destination. Granted, she could have planned better or waited for the fog to disappear. But she was able to capitalize on her solid training, resolution, and resilience 2 months later to swim successfully from Catalina Island to California shore. You see, dense fog stopped Florence in the sea. What is stopping you in life? I tell you what was stopping me that almost cost me my life. On a sunny summer day in 1985, I was body surfing in Laguna Beach. Body surfing is like rodeo. Instead of riding horses and bulls, you ride waves. Naturally, with 5 gorgeous girls around, I felt the dire need to show off. I built courage to go farther in the deep section. The problem was, I barely knew how to swim. The water was up to my chest, still safe. The waves twisted, turned, and pushed me toward the shore several times, and I went back for more. Suddenly, bam! A huge wave slammed me on the ocean floor. I lost control and panicked. I tried to stand, but could not reach the ocean floor. I went in and out of water several times and swallowed a good amount of murky water. I wish the water were my pride. I could have swallowed my pride and called for help. I could have, but I didn't. I didn't want the mermaids to see me as a wimp. I splashed vigorously many times, but each time the current dragged the beach sand and me into the ocean. Each time the girls huddled and giggled. I just couldn't let go of my dependence on life. I kept telling myself, Faz, don't give up. You're too handsome to die. I had to survive. As the last resort and at the highest level of desperation, I formulated a plan. I relaxed and kept my chubby, motionless, and still handsome body above water. Then all I needed was one strong push, one strong wave to push me toward the shore. In time, the elements of nature did the magic, and I survived. Surprisingly, the mermaids had disappeared. Can you imagine? I almost sacrificed my life to preserve my pride. Today, I'm as ecstatic to be alive as Florence was reaching the shore. Before allowing dense fog in the sea or in life stop us from reaching our destination, we have to capitalize on our resources, resilience, and resolution one last time to reach our goals. We should just give it another try to ride the tide of difficulties as if it is a matter of life, death, or any conviction that motivates us. Just one more try, my friend, is all we need to reach the end.
Oh, that was a very inspiring speech. So what feedback do you have for him, Dave?
Trish, I've known Faz for 10 years, and I've seen him grow tremendously. And one thing I can tell you about Faz is that he lives the message he presented tonight. Don't give up. Faz just keeps on going, and it's just amazing. It's an amazing influence on my life. I'm sure on others as well, the kids, as he mentioned.
Yeah.
I like what he did today. Opened with a question first. He asked about, are you swimming against the tide? I believe was his question. Just asking a question throughout a speech is a good way to engage the audience and keep them listening to you and keep them following along with you. I know several changes in his tone of voice, kind of an ominous tone when he's talking about the dense fog and all that.
Yeah.
And then the wave hit when he was body surfing, bam, I think he said.
Yeah.
Not only did he use his voice, he used physical tones too. So he put a lot into the speech, not just.
And I liked his humor about,
Yes.
the still handsome.
Too handsome to die. Yes.
That's right.
So
I
he
have to remember that one.
He did put a lot into this. So he accomplished his objectives and then some.
Would you have any feedback or suggestions you might want to do differently?
I would like to see a little stronger call to action at the end because I know Faz is good for it. And he's given plenty of speeches. He knows this. So that's what I would suggest is a little bit of stronger call to action. And aside from that, I think he's on his way to a fantastic, great speech.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. I'm sure that Faz will appreciate that. But for now, we need to take a short break. You're watching Toastmaster Time, and we'll be right back.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. I'd like to introduce our second guest, Happy Skywalker. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And what club are you representing?
East Bay Toastmasters.
How long have you been a Toastmaster?
About a year and a half.
Wow, that's not very long. Now, according to Dave, you've been taking the skills you've learned and putting them to good use out in your community. What are you doing?
You know, maybe I have. I do a lot of volunteer work. I volunteer at the food bank, Alameda County Community Food Bank, as well as seasonally with homeless shelters, and I try to stay involved, and I'd like to start a Toastmasters club inside a prison.
Wow, I know there's some clubs inside prisons. I hope you're networking with some of the other Toastmasters throughout the world. Okay,
I'm on it.
They're doing that. Wonderful.
Yes.
What are some of the things, have you spent much time working with some of the prisoners inside? Have you had some sense of what skills they really need to work on?
Well, I have 4 long-standing prison pen pals or incarcerated pen pals, and they have different reading and writing competency levels, but one thing they really share is they do not have confidence that they have the voice to do what they want to do in life, and I think Toastmasters is the thing for that.
I would agree with you. I think Toastmasters can give confidence, whether you're a young person or any person.
Whatever your strife is.
I'm really looking forward to hearing your speech, so I'm going to give you just a moment to get set up and get organized. In the meantime, I'd like to talk to our audience about Toastmasters International. We just had our 90th anniversary. It's a very long-standing organization. We have about 300,000 members in over 10,000 clubs in almost every continent that you would want to go to. And therefore, no matter where you are, there's got to be a Toastmasters club somewhere near you. They love to have guests. Just look them up. Maybe call one of the people in the club and show up as a guest. I know they'd love to see you. So with that, let's come back to our evaluator, Dave Orris, and can you tell us what Happy's objectives are?
Yes, Trish, Happy is speaking out of one of the advanced manuals, the Persuasive Speaker Manual, and she's giving Project 5, the Persuasive Leader. And she has essentially 2 objectives, and that's to communicate her vision and mission to an audience and convince the audience to work toward achieving her vision and mission.
Great. Well, I think we're going to be very inspired by this speech also.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our second speaker. I'd like to introduce Happy Skywalker. I am happy. I am happy. Happy Skywalker.
Hi, I'm Happy. Well, I am happy. I feel happy. Also, my name is Happy. I did choose my name, and I also did choose my attitude. I didn't have either of those at some points in my life. There are things that I do to maintain happiness. It is not an accident. I am purposefully grateful. I do things that make me proud, like running, volunteering with the food bank, writing inmates, volunteering at homeless shelters, and other things that I feel are the right thing to do, make me feel like I am living the way I want to live. It's no accident. These are some purposeful steps I make towards happiness. The fact that I categorize myself and think of myself as a happy person is something that I would have not have seen coming. There have been times in my life that I thought that happiness was not an option for me and never would be. The time that really stands out as solidifying for me that I could not be happy was when I was 19 years old. There was a fella I'd been dating. I think I said something he didn't like, and he hit me in the face with the muzzle of a gun. And then he put it under my jaw and pushed my head so far back I thought it was going to come off. And he told me that if I made another noise, he was going to kill me right then. 4 or 6 months went by, I really don't know how long. He took me to another state. My life was threatened every single day until one day I decided to take some power over my death. I knew I was not going to continue. This was the end of my story. And I didn't want to be the girl that died in captivity being tortured. I wanted to be the girl that died running. I had no idea I would be the girl that did not die running. And here I am. I very quickly became homeless. My mind was broken. My body was broken. I had no connections. I had no money. And I was in a part of the country I'd never been to. Years went by before I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. When I heard that was my diagnosis, I have post-traumatic stress disorder, I thought, I know what that means. There's 2 things it means. You live homeless and then die homeless, or you commit suicide. At the time, I had been struggling with homelessness for years already, and I thought of suicide every day. So I thought, well, I'll do one until I do the other. Instead, I was told to go to therapy. And I learned things in therapy. I learned a lot of things in therapy. And what I learned was that happiness is a skill set and a choice. And I started following the program I was told to follow to be happy. I was in behavioral cognitive therapy, or cognitive behavioral therapy, which was very useful for me. But I took away 2 major lessons that I think changed everything for me. And I have a close friend who was recently diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I know that it's important to hear, as a person with any sort of trauma, drama, sadness, or plague on their mind, that mental illness is not permanent. You can pass through it, and there are ways to do it. The first major lesson that stuck with me and did something in my life was the lesson, fake it till you make it. It doesn't mean fake out other people and trick people. It means fake yourself out. If you feel like you can't get out of bed and face the day, okay, that's respectable, but get out of bed and face the day. If you feel that you're not worthy of anyone taking care of you, that's reasonable, but take care of yourself anyway. If you feel like there's no hope, that's fine, but act hopeful anyway. That lesson was a hard one to begin living, but it helped me a lot. The second lesson, the one that I still use to this day and used to have taped over my bed for years, is make yourself proud. In any situation, if I don't know what to do, I know the thing that makes me proud is the right one. And that's how I get my happy, full days with gratitude, and I've built a life with people who love me all around me. Looking at my life, I would have said, that's a person that doesn't have a chance at happiness. And it's taken time and it's taken work. What it takes is some skills, a little bit of dedication. So if you are not happy and you think you can't be happy, I recommend that you try to learn some skills. Fake it till you make it. Make yourself proud. And I became happy. I know you can too.
Wow, now that was a very powerful, persuasive speech.
Powerful is the word.
What kind of feedback would you give for happy?
Where do I start? As far as her vision and her mission, I think the mission is to be happy. That's what I got out of it. I wasn't quite there initially, though, because first of all, I was almost dumbfounded by some of the trials that she has gone through. She has a powerful story, and it's a personal story, and I thank her for sharing that with us, and I want to encourage her to continue in what she's doing, because she can touch so many people with this
And I
story.
like how some of the colorful phrases that she used,
Yes.
you know, fake it till you make it and make yourself proud.
Right.
Because not only is it a powerful message, it's a very succinct message that's easy to remember.
Act hopeful anyway was another one she said, which is important,
Yeah.
because sometimes we might not feel happy, but if we act happy, we'll eventually get there. It's
You know,
important.
that's a very good point, because, you know, she was saying, if you don't feel like getting out of bed, well, get out of bed and, you know, get out of bed anyway. Make yourself do this. And if you do it enough, at some point, it's almost like your brain rewires to the point where you can.
Right. Let me touch on something real quick here about how she connected with the audience and communicated that vision mission. Maya Angelou, the poet Maya Angelou, has said that she's learned that people will forget what she's said and what she's done, but they'll always remember how she made them feel. Tonight, Happy made us feel a lot of things, and so she really connected through our emotions, and that's how she drew us in, the emotions of concern, caring, whatever, and I think we all want to be on her side and do the things that she does now, running, helping with the food bank, the homelessness, and so that helped to sell that message and to bring us into her side, to want to work with her to accomplish those dreams.
Well, now, if I was going to, you know, say break it down a little bit so that others might take some of the techniques that she used, what do you find were the techniques she used to be persuasive, to help us, you know, adopt her point of view?
Her energy. She has this incredible energy, and some of us who occasionally find our energy level running down would give a lot to have that energy back, and so I think that draws us in too, and so that almost makes her an expert in the field, because she's exemplifying what it looks like to be happy.
Okay.
And
Denise, also, I felt she looked very comfortable out there on the speaking area.
did.
And being relaxed like that, it kind of like drew me in, and then I was just kind of like, you know, listening to her story, but she was just very matter of fact, and she wasn't, you know, real strident. And
well, that
I think
also demonstrates her sincerity, and the fact that she's walked the walk, she's lived it. She knows what she's talking about.
yeah, awesome, wonderful. Well, thank you very much for your feedback. I really appreciate it. Now we're going to take a short break. You're watching Toastmaster Time, and we'll be right back.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.
Welcome back to Toastmaster Time, the show that has everybody talking. I'd like to take a couple of minutes now to talk with Dave about maybe some of the topics we've heard about on this show. I really like the idea of taking our skills that we've learned in Toastmasters and applying them to the community. Do you have some thoughts about how people can do that?
Well, Trish, first of all, that's what Toastmasters is about. It's not about giving a speech in front of a group of people. It's where leaders are made. In fact, that's what Toastmasters hangs their hat on, is creating leaders. Faz has a great school for kids. What is it, 10, 12-year-old, I believe it was?
Yeah.
Pioneer Leaders Institute.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were that young. Like,
Yes.
wow.
So he's taking
Getting them off to a
some
good
of the-
start.
Right. Some of the Toastmasters fundamentals and teaching them to the kids, as well as having a good time. I visited him one night at their graduation a couple of years ago. It's phenomenal to see the energy
Okay.
and a great group of kids. And then Happy also gave us a lot of good examples, just in one sentence. The running, well, that's a personal thing, but
Yeah.
food bank, homeless shelters. She also wants to start a club at one of the prisons, or her probably several prisons.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of energy. So there's so much you can do with Toastmasters. It's not just about giving a speech, it's about leadership.
I really like, and I just want to keep emphasizing that point is, you know, what's the point of just talking and talking in your meeting, you know, doing your manuals and doing your project, getting feedback from evaluators, if you don't do something with what you're learning?
Correct.
You know, it'd be such a, I don't want to say a waste, but I mean, you know, such a disappointment not to actually help the community become a better place.
That's what it's about. There's so many people have great ideas, they just don't know what to do with them, or they can't get them out and share their ideas. So that's where Toastmasters comes in. It helps us to be able to spread those ideas and get people on board.
Well, you know, I'm going to put a plug in for that because Toastmasters has its own youth leadership program. I've done several of them. If we have any Toastmasters members, then what I'd like to have them do is go online to the Toastmasters website and look about the youth leadership program, because it takes a Toastmasters club to sponsor a youth leadership program, and you would just be amazed that the kids and the parents are just so appreciative of the help that you give them to become more confident in becoming better speakers and better leaders. I'm amazed that 11, 12-year-old kids can learn how to run a meeting and learn how to, you know, even then take their own skills and do something in the community.
I've noticed that Toastmasters has that ability to bring out those qualities in people, young or old. They're in there, and Toastmasters can bring them out.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciated having you, working with you on the show again, Dave.
My pleasure.
But now I'd like to let our audience know that if they would like more information about our show, they're welcome to go to our website. That's toastmastertime.com. We're sponsored by District 57 of Toastmasters. That's here in the local San Francisco Bay Area. You can go to their website, which is d57tm.org, to find out about local events in this area. Or if you'd like more information about Toastmasters or where to find a club near you, go to the Toastmasters International website. That's toastmasters.org. I'd like to thank all of our volunteers here at the Media Center in Palo Alto, because without them, we don't have a show. I've enjoyed working with our guests today, with Faz Binesh and Happy Skywalker, and of course, our wonderful evaluator, Dave Orris, is back with us again. My name is Trish Gray. I'm your host with this episode of Toastmaster Time, so join Toastmasters and keep talking. It'll be the best investment you ever gave to yourself.